like another philosophy that's out there is from, 0 to 18, you keep them healthy, and 18, you kick them out the door and they got to go figure out life on their own. We don't have that. We feel like 0 to 18 was kindergarten. And now 18 to 30 is where parenting really needs a kick in.
Hello everyone, we are Greg and Jacquie Francis, and welcome to High Performance Parenting, where our passionate goal is to encourage you to raise champion children in a crazy world. Every week we will bring you multiple episodes from our extensive experience of raising our six happy, healthy, successful, godly kids who are confidently equipped to win big in life.
We deeply believe that any parent who is provided with the right knowledge and continual support can raise amazing kids. And when they do, all of our futures get better. If raising up future generations of absolute champions matters to you as much as it does to us, here's how you can contribute. Like and share this podcast with everyone you know. And together, let's embrace this journey of raising champion kids in a crazy world. Okay, Babe Cakes, we're back. And I know we're talking about strategies, and we were just wrapping up talking about, okay, if you're getting into some kind of an argument, it's probably better to pause so your brain starts working the way it's supposed to work again, where your logic and your emotion side both kick in. Number two, try to have some kind of a reconnect within 24 hours, 48 max, right? Because you don't want things just to sit, and you don't honestly want to open that door for the adversary to be able to just twist things in your head.
Right.
And then after that, when you do talk about it, it's got to be one person being able to communicate first, right?
Yeah, this one's kind of hard, I will tell you, because kind of, again, the whole goal is to reconnect, right? And what we were taught, which actually is working out better than we thought, you know what I mean, is the first day you let one person say. So if you and I got in an argument, and we tried to go back and forth with this, you know what I mean, in the different arguments, to give each person the opportunity to be the first to talk, and that each person be the second person to talk, it's been working well for us. But, for instance, we get in a fight last week, and, hey, hun, I want to give you a chance to go first. Can you please, can we take 10, 15 minutes when you're done with your meetings today? Can we go in your office or mine and have a real conversation? I want to hear what you have to say. And to be able to listen from your I statements on how the event made you feel, without, though, belittling the other person, without,
Right, there's rules of engagement.
There is rules. You cannot yell at each other. The whole point is connection, not disconnect some more and make it worse.
And for the one person to get heard first, and then the other person will also. But so the specific strategy is one of us gets to talk. So like in that situation, you invited me to talk first, right?
Yes.
And so the rule, though, of communication for connection was that I only get to use I statements, and I don't get to use immature words. Immature words are words like never and always. Yeah. You never do this. You always do this. We don't even use you statements because it automatically puts the other person on defense.
Correct.
So instead of me saying you do this, so therefore this happens for me, it's more like, in this situation, I just got to tell you how I'm feeling, right? And it's a slight change, but it really makes a big difference.
Right. It's you saying, I felt unheard in this area. I felt disrespected in this area. I felt unhonored in this area. I felt this way. Not you did this to me. I felt this way.
And then the other person listening has to sit there, and you don't get to defend. You don't get to debate. And even if that stuff is starting to rattle in your brain, then you just got to sit through it and do your best to try to focus on what the other person's saying.
Well, and the goal really, again, when you say sit through it, again, I want to reiterate, it's been a 24, 48 hour period. During that time, your whole heart posture is, of course, you're hurt by the situation that happened, but really starting to try to see it from a different perspective. You know what I mean? Like when I'm in those 48 hour, 24 hour periods, of course, the first 10, I'm like, oh, it's so him. He did this wrong. I cannot believe this. You know what I mean? But then the next couple, next day or whatever, it's more like, okay, so what are you missing here? If you go past when he got kind of chippy with you about XYZ, what's really happening here? Yeah. And so to take a moment back and remember your person's heart. I don't think for 1 minute you're trying to hurt me. You know what I mean? So what happened here? And so then when I try to package it that way, by the time I hear what you're saying, there's a frog in my throat. By the time I hear what you're saying, I really am like, how did you feel here? because I don't understand.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand. I don't even want to defend. I'm like, I don't actually understand why you're hurt. And if I hurt you, talk to me about that, because I actually didn't mean that.
Yeah.
You know? And so I think that's one of the things is by the time it does come. And then the beauty of it is once you do tell me your feelings, I'm kind of like, oh, I had no idea. Yeah, that was kind of disrespectful, or that was dishonoring, or I could see where you were hurt or upset or nervous or whatever the word may be. Let me think on that. And then what's neat is for us, we decide to wait one more night, and then the other person gets to come and say their feelings.
Yeah,
So
at least one more day.
yeah.
And
And
this is
come back and
so-
like it would be my turn.
So like for me, because I am so logic brained, that when we're in that state of, okay, we got in some kind of a heightened, or we got in an argument of some sort, we're going to talk within 24 hours, you're going to talk, let's say, and then when you start explaining what's going on, I have to really sit there, and it takes about 2-3 minutes, I feel like, at the beginning, because my brain is like a motor brain about all my defenses. Like, you don't understand this part, and I don't think you interpreted this right. I don't even think you heard this right. Like, my brain is just going, but having this like commitment to saying, no, I'm going to keep fighting my brain, and I'm going to really try to listen. And I have to do it. And you know what I've found is, like, after like 2-3 minutes of fighting it, it's almost like I convince my flesh that you're not going to win. And so now I just feel like I really am able, it's like the Holy Spirit allows me to start really hearing you now. And then I don't even really feel like defending or debating anymore. I get pretty interested in what you're saying.
Well, what was neat is one time ago or two, I don't remember, in the last, however many times, it was my turn to say my I statements and talk, and then you started talking about your feelings. I'm like, I'm really sorry, but can I just finish today? Like, can you listen to me for a minute, and can we go over you tomorrow?
Yeah.
And it was like, you kind of were like, oh yeah, that's right, that's the rule.
Yeah.
Like, I think you wanted to defend for a minute. Well, and you almost did. You're like, okay, and then you're like, actually, yeah. You know what I mean? And it was I watched you literally physically be like, no, but I wanted to just say what. I'm like, but I really,
this quick little thing.
I don't want to hear it. You know what I mean? Like,
this quick thing with the part A, B,
yes,
and C.
Yes, exactly. And I'm like, but the fact that I watched you go, okay. Okay, yeah. You know what I mean? I was like, okay, he's really trying here. You know what I mean? Because it would have been really easy. And then in the past, though, I might have let you do it. And then I'm like, this isn't working. I cannot believe this again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we're going to get in another argument because you didn't listen to my I statements.
Yeah.
Try to say, I'm like, see you in 48 hours.
Yeah.
You know? Like, I don't even know.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
yeah.
So it's like, it isn't easy, and it's not perfect, and it can look ugly. And like one of our friends that was talking to us about it, they're like, I'm not surprised you guys are getting in arguments when you're trying to work on not arguing like that, like, because I mean, we've been doing it, ineffectively, I'm going to say, for however many years, but what's neat about the whole thing is after you do those, I statements back and forth, I mean, you really do feel better towards each other. Like, I know it sounds a little like, yeah, but you don't understand our situation. We don't understand your situation. I just know ours. And like, I know it's kind of surprising, but Greg and I are both very passionate people. And so like, whether he's logic or whether I'm emotion, we both pretty much always feel like our side's the right side. You know what I mean? And that's not the healthy way of doing things. And so if we can start applying some of these things, I promise you they can work for you too. Because we are for sure some of the most stubborn people I know. I know for a fact, both in a positive way and in a negative way. Stubborn when we want to know that we're right and you're wrong, but also stubborn enough to know we're going to make this work no matter what. We would just love to have real tools that bring us closer together versus not. So if you're like, either way, stubbornness can be good or bad, And then I think it was last night you were saying, we were talking, like, we actually don't make non-stubborn kids. You know what I mean? Like, all of our kids are very
they're leaders,
strong-willed, leaders, stubborn for the good stuff, a little stubborn for not the good stuff. They thrive in being in leadership positions. And with that comes sometimes doing things incorrectly. Mm-hmm. And so if you're even in a season with some of your kids that you're like, okay, I understand now what my husband and I need to work on. a lot of times we have to go through this stuff with our kids. It might not look as structured as how you and I do it. But I mean, we're going through a season right now with some of our kids where it's like we're trying to understand their perspective or what they were doing and explaining to them a little bit more what it's like to be honoring and connection with us right now. I mean, you just had a good conversation with one of our kiddos yesterday about it, you know? And so this whole connection thing helps because if not, where do you want your marriage to be? Like you were talking about. Like, what's your goal?
What's the goal? I mean, what's it look like 5 years from now? What's it look like 10 years from now? What's it look like 20 years from now? You know, we're going through a lot of seasons, you and I right now, a lot of change with kids' ages and, you know, you and I, parenting perspective, you know, there's another philosophy that's out there is from, 0 to 18, you keep them healthy, and 18, you kick them out the door and they got to go figure out life on their own. We don't have that. We feel like 0 to 18 was kindergarten. And now 18 to 30 is where parenting really needs a kick in because that's where the most transition in their life is happening. That's the most opportunities to make really big mistakes or to do things really well. And so we're kind of ramping up, but at the same time, things shift. It goes from, taking care of these cute little 6 and 7 year olds into we're dealing with real stuff going on at 16, 17, 18 years old. And then also it kind of lends to us being in a different season in our marriage with it all. So there's just a lot, there's a lot. So we have to be very committed to staying connected through all these seasons. And we really need strategies, especially with as many kids as we have. I'll tell you one more thing I want to say about even the philosophy part of this that I think is huge for people to hear, that I think I really needed to hear, was that, when you do make this covenant for connection and you do really decide that it is going to be binary, it's either connection or distance. There's no gray. You don't give yourself excuses for justified resentment that way, right? But it really takes away your ability to act a certain way just because you feel like acting a certain way. Like, for instance, for me, I could tend to, if I would get angry enough about something, I can get loud and I can get, I could become a yeller. You know what I mean? You didn't hear me, so I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it twice as loud. And, or, it could be that somebody could get really hurtful with their words. It's like I get to say things to you that I should never say to a spouse, like mean stuff. You know what I mean? And this is between us or between our kids or anything. Yeah. There has to be this boundary of that. When I've created a covenant of connection with you, I don't get to act like this anymore. Right. Well, it's just the way I am. It's my fiery personality. No,
I agree.
It's not godly. And we have to own that. Doesn't mean I have to walk around like some wimpy passive person, but I just don't get to be mean. Not with the most important person in my life. You know what I mean? And a lot of times what people will do in today's world is they're so good at keeping people skills on with other people. And then they get home, they give themselves permission to be harsh to each other. Yeah. And it should be the opposite, if anything. I agree. You know what I mean?
I totally agree. But we got to give our best at home.
It's an important thing because, we have had to teach our kids the same stuff. Sometimes they'll start getting a little bit overly chippy with each other. And we've had to correct them and be like, we don't talk to each other in this family like that, But there's a reason why. It's not just, hey, it's a rule, do it or else. It's we're protecting connection.
And they need to understand the why behind it. Because if not, again, they go to their room later and they're like, okay, but that person was really rude to me. Why couldn't I defend myself? You for sure can defend yourself. We don't want anybody feeling they can't stick up for themselves. Yeah. But just because one person is acting ornery about stuff doesn't mean we also do the same thing. We have to be the one that says, I don't like the way you're talking to me about this.
Yeah, it's not permission.
I'm going to pause on this. When you really want to know how I feel about this, we can talk about it. And I think that's maturity. And, good point on your part. Sometimes our own tendencies, you mentioned that you can, get loud or you can get, mean words or whatever the words that you said, everybody has their own tendencies, my tendency is to get cutting, you know what I mean? Because the louder you would get, I'll just say a snarky comment because that'll stop you in your tracks from yelling at me or something like that or screaming.
And you learned that growing up.
Yeah, and that was a defense
Right.
mechanism for me. 100%.
And so it becomes a habit.
Correct.
So then it takes a lot of intentionality to break the habit.
100% it does. And so, but if you catch what you do, then you can start stopping yourself ahead of time. Like, I think that's the whole thing in maturity and learning and growing and changing, is realizing, like, we all have tendencies, some good, some not so good, you know? And we really need to work on to make sure when we're in those heated discussions, which we're all going to have, whether it's in your marriage, whether it's in your parenting, you know, we've talked numerous times the importance of speaking the right words over your kids, even when they've done mistakes. Like, you really have to be willing to make those changes regardless of what the other person does. If you don't ever change your behavior, you know, as heartbreaking as that would be to me, like, it doesn't give me permission still to be mean or snarky or whatever the words may be, you know, like, and that's where, like, you got to pray for your spouse. You know what I mean? Like, in all honesty, nobody can change your spouse. They have to make that own choice. And that's where prayer comes in so much. I mean, are you really praying for your spouse? Are you specifically praying for certain areas of their life? Are you praying for, you know, every single day for your spouse? This isn't just when you feel like it or when you're in a bad position or something like that. Like, you got to ramp up and be in the mode way before things start going on. You know, and if you're not there, start today.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Start today. Are you taking time every morning to pray for the one that you love, the most important person in your life, for your kids? Because if you're not doing that kind of stuff, then you really don't know how the rest of the day is going to go, or the rest of the week, month, or year. You know, prayer is your number one, best thing you can do. That's where you want to go to, and go to God for all of it.
Yeah, it shifts things. And
It does.
I know even just speaking words of life over you, you know, it even shifts things for me, because it makes me have an expectation of you stepping into the thing that I know that God's asking you to step into, and,
Right.
and vice versa, right? But I see it that way. It's kind of like with our kids. If they're making a mistake, we don't feel like they're mistakes. We just feel
No.
like you're not living up to who you're actually supposed to be. So we're going to help you get there, right? And it's nice when couples do that for each other,
And
too.
that's not only couples can do it, but God will do that with you. You know, God will meet you where you're at for your relationship too. So, like, He will help you see what you need to see without me needing to tell you all the time.
All right, this is fun. I got one more topic we need to do. So one more episode on this, okay? Hey everyone, thanks for listening and thanks for your love and support. We hope that today's episode added tremendous value to you and your family. It would mean so much to us if you would partner with us on our mission of helping parents around the globe raise champion children in this crazy world.
To do so, simply take a moment to like and share this podcast with everyone in your network. See you next time.